Alright, we've got the Taurus G3 today. We're going to clean and disassemble, clean, and put back together. Alright, so first thing we got to do is got to check it. It is loaded. And before you do anything with your firearms, make sure you unload them. Alright, check that chamber, magazine well, so we're good. Alright, before we start doing anything else, I'm going to take the O-light, pop it off. That's what I like about the O-lights. They're so easy to take off. Now, what we're going to do here is we've got these little tabs. We've got a tab right here. And we've got this little tab right here. I'm going to take my fingers, thumb nail on one side, other fingernail on the other side, and I'm going to pull down on these. As I pull down, I'm going to take this slide and I'm going to kind of move it back like that. So I'm going to pull down. Now, while I'm holding it, pull that trigger, push it forward. This is ready to clean. The slide, we're going to take the rod and spring, so we're going to basically take it, we're going to push forward, up, and out. So forward, up, and out. And then the barrel, the same thing, forward, up, and out, just like that. And that is ready to clean. We're going to get our little bucket over here, my nice dirty bucket that I clean everything with. And we'll go ahead and clean this barrel first. So I'm going to take the hops, number 9. Sit it right there. Alright, so this one's already set up for the 9mm, which is what this is. So we're good on the brush. Make sure you have the correct brush. Most of them will be stamped here. If not, it will say it. Mine just says it on my little packet. So I have my little packet here, and you see the little numbers down in there. It says the 35.9, so that's the 9mm. 0.35 is the actual inch. Alright, so we'll take this. I'm going to take the barrel. And this barrel this is a bit dirty, so it's had some shooting done through it. You can see some crud right down in there. And then down in the barrel, see if we can get a, there we go, maybe a little better shot down in the barrel. That's kind of dirty. So we're going to fix that. Alright, so swish it around, get some solvent on it, stick it in, pull it out, swish it around, get all the excess dirt to drop off, new solvent on, in and out, same thing, swish it around, excess dirt fall off, new solvent on. Alright, so that went through pretty good right there. With this one being so dirty, see we've got some solvent on the edge right here. I'm going to take that solvent and I'm going to move it around. I'm going to use that solvent to clean the feeding ramp. And there's no reason to overuse solvent. You don't have to get it super duper dirty. Alright, you see how dirty that's coming? This one had some use in it. Alright, now I'm going to actually take my bore scrubber and I'm just going to kind of lightly coat it. And this will come off real easy, the barrel. It will come clean very easily. So we're just going to take that, get it wet, and then wipe the barrel down. I like my guns clean. With your rifles and stuff, especially if you're shooting with it, when you clean them really well, that first shot may not be on exactly as accurate as it could be. That second shot usually straightens it up, but I still like my rifles clean as well. Alright, so this is clean. Now we're going to take our bore snake, since we put the solvent down in it. And the solvent is pretty quickly dissipating. So we're going to pull through. Again, I do this 3 times. And one more time. I always go from the back when I can. There's a lot of times you cannot go from the back, especially with some of these short barreled revolvers or some of the attached barreled semi-automatics. you're not able to do much with it. So let's see if we can get this straightened up a little more. Alright, down in there, how nice and shiny that is. That's what we're looking for, so we've got a good clean barrel. Alright, so we're done with the solvent, so we're going to put the cap back on the solvent, get it out of the way. Alright, let's just scoot over to the frame. Alright, we can see some dirt on the frame. Down in here, it's kind of crud right there. It's not a whole lot, but it's more than I like. Alright, so we take our toothbrush. We just get it wet, and then we take our toothbrush. Loosen it up. There are a couple other chemicals you can use that aren't as expensive, and I will go over them later. Right now out here I don't have a sink readily available, and when you use some of them you have to wash your gun off with water because it's basically a soap, and then you have to blow it dry. So some of you may not have access to blowing it dry, but I am going to introduce them in a later videos because I'm getting plumbing out here to the shop. I don't have it out here right now. And again, we're just watching the drips come off. When they're dirty, we keep spraying. When it comes out clean, we stop spraying. That is your sign that the dirt has left, or as much as you're going to get off at that point has left. Ultrasonic's a good way to go. We do have ultrasonic here. We can ultrasonic clean them. Just for video's sake, I'm trying to show y'all how to clean it at home with certain chemicals. Because I still do this as well. I will ultrasonic clean. In fact, I will kind of pre-clean. I will ultrasonic clean, and then I will post-clean. Then I will ultrasonic lube, and then I will lube and grease the gun even after I ultrasonic cleaning, because ultrasonic gets way deep down in there what we're not getting, and it works really, really well. Alright, so I'm going to take the rod. I see some dirt right in there, so I'm going to spray it. Nothing to the rod spraying really. That's about it. A little harder spray, knock that off. It will dry on its own, but I still wipe it. Alright, now we're going to go over to the slide. Nothing with the slide, but now we can see some, see if we can see that grit. Can you see the grit right there? See if I can get this a little better focused. Right there, can you see all that grit? There is grit down in there. And that's what we're trying to get rid of, is the grit. Alright, so I'm going to wet it. Toothbrush it. And as every video, if you have sensitive hands, I absolutely suggest you wearing gloves. Take your precautions. If you're like me, it doesn't bother them. Whether it's because it didn't originally bother them, or I've just done it for so long without gloves that it is not bothering them anymore. I don't know, because I've been doing this for a while. Alright, you see all that? It's clearing up. Now I'm going to spray it down the firing pin hole. Alright, out on that one. Let's get us another one over here. Spray it down the firing pin hole. Alright, that didn't look bad. That didn't look bad at all. Again, I'll spray it again. Watch the dirty water, basically, the dirty solvent come off back. And then when it clears up, you should be good to go. Alright, so we're going to wipe it off. Now it's going to have this dry look to it after you do your solvent. This is another reason I use wax on my guns. I want to get rid of a lot of the dry look. I don't know if you can see that, but you're going to have the dry look. And it wipes off. It just takes a second. You've got to wipe it off. Again, this is a honestly probably a cheaper coating. This is the Taurus. And of course you have to cut corners when you're manufacturing. They are made in the USA, so they have to cut corners to keep their guns cheap. In fact, I'm a fair Taurus fan. I like the Tauruses, especially from the PT-111 G2 and up. The G1s had a lot of problems, but they learned from it. I have never had a Taurus fail on me. I've heard of a couple people having theirs fail. But I have had Glocks, I've had Kimbers, I've had all kind of other stuff fail on me. So you know, to each their own. I don't knock any name brand or any other brand. I don't care what you use, just as long as you keep it clean and it functions properly every single time. So I don't care if you use the low end, and I don't care if you use the high end. I own them all, from the low to the high. Yes, some of the higher end shoots better than some of the lower ends, whether it's due to the internal mechanisms being smoother, the recoil springs being, you know, a hydraulic, or just a smoother, easy to rack, but it takes a lot of the recoil out. There's a lot of reasons there, but you get what you can afford. If you keep it clean and you maintain it, it should function properly. Alright, so I'm going to go to the grease now. Rig. The only thing we do on the barrel, little dab, not a whole lot. Let's see if we can get that in there. Where are we at? There we are, just a little bit. A little bit goes a long way. Alright, little dab. Take some from over here, put over here. I'm not trying to get on this side of the ramp, because I don't like anything really on my feed ramp. I like it to be clean, like a dry line. I know a lot of people do lube their feed ramp up. I don't like it. You can polish the feed ramps. I'm okay with that as far as I'm concerned, but I don't like grease and stuff on them. Alright, now we're going to go. Let me set all my cleaning chemicals out of the way and go to the FMO 350 AW spray by Lubriplate. Get down in here. See this little spring right here? I'm going to spray that, and there's some stuff on down in here that we're going to get. Go on this side. Go on this side. We don't want a whole lot. Now it's not really touching, it doesn't touch the frame right here, so there's no reason to lube there, but it does touch the frame up in here. So I'm going to put a little drop down in there, and then it touches right here. So I'm going to put a little bit right there. Now your slide lock touches as well right in here. So I like getting some behind there, so I'm going to pull it forward. And then we'll spray it, and we'll kind of hold it upside down, let it work its way down in there. And yes, we're going to have to shake this, or wipe this off once we're done with all that. Alright, we've got our little, this is your lock for your slide right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a little oil right there. I'm going to work it down in. And then our trigger. You're just not going to be able to get down in these parts with your grease, so go ahead and oil them. It does not take a lot. Make your trigger actuate. I'm going to pull my trigger, and I'm going to get on this side. And you can actually hear, I don't know if y'all can hear it on the video, but I can actually hear kind of like a friction between the metals, and then when I put the oil it really eases up. Alright, I'm going to pull this back. I'm going to put a dot. There's a little bar right there. Oh yeah, there you go. And I can hear that right there too. Alright, so we're going to take our, there we go, our Q-tip. Get a little bit of grease on it. And yes, the oil and grease can mix, that's fine. And I'm not so sure that doesn't even work better, oil and grease mix, because I'm pretty sure a lot of these other companies out here, they're just going with a thicker oil. Because oil and grease is basically the same thing, it's just the viscosity. A grease is kind of, it's just that much thicker. Which the grease, for me, tends to stick longer. The oil, it doesn't evaporate, but it will dissipate. It will basically disappear off of your gun. A lot quicker than the grease will. The grease will hang around. And you can try that sometime. You can take you a piece of metal, put you a little bit of oil, and you can try it with several things. You try it with like water. Put water on the metal, let it run down. See how long it takes the water to run off. Then you do the oil, and see how long it takes the oil to run off. Then you do the grease, and you see how long the grease sticks around. And the grease is going to stick around until it's just used so much it's just moved. Again, it doesn't exactly disappear. It just gets moved. I do put some on the frame up here. Is it necessary? Maybe not, but I do it anyway. And any little part that is metal, I like to cover with the grease on the inside, simply because it will help your finish to last longer. It will keep it nicer long. It's kind of like a car. You keep your wax on your car. This is basically doing the same thing. For those of you that don't ever wash your car, I don't care what kind of vehicle you got, wash it. Take care of it. You know, if it's a 1980s beater, who cares? Take care of it. Take care of your car. Take care of your ride. I have a 94 F250 that I pull with my little lawn care business. But I wash it. I keep it clean. A lot of people's like, oh, get a new one. My old one works. Alright, so I'm going to take some grease on here on the slide, and we'll go down in here. Again, I'm just covering the metal on the inside. I don't cover the metal on the outside with the grease because you're not going to be able to handle it very well. But I do cover all the insides. And what you can do is you can basically take your finger and get everything you can get with your finger. What you couldn't get with your finger, you could go back with your little Q-tip. And it works perfectly. And I'm going to go ahead and get the top rails. I will redo these top rails. This actually slides against the slide here, or the frame, I mean. I will redo them. Now we're going to get some grease on the Q-tip. This little pocket's not necessarily necessary, but it is metal and I like to cover it. Again, you don't want so much grease and oil on here that, especially the oil is the one that's going to run. You don't want the grease so thick that it gobs up, because it will actually attract dirt. So it will, the dirt will basically just goop up, and with it gooping up, it will, it can cause failures, especially down that firing pin and down on stuff that slides and mechanism, because it could get down right there in that firing pin, right in here. It could get down in there very easily, and we don't want that. But most of this on the slide, the underneath of the slide, is greased. I do some oil. I'm going to do that. I'm going to spread this out a little bit more. That's a little too thick to my liking. Alright, so this little safety button right here, what I do is I take me a little bit of oil, I'm going to put on the top part. I mean, I'm talking just a little bit. And then I can see it working its way down in there. And then I'm going to allow it. Let's see if I can get it in my frame right there. There we go. Push it, turn it up, and allow it to work its way down in there. And again, you can hear the friction, and then the friction kind of dissipates once that oil gets down in there. So you'll be able to tell what's what and what's going on. Alright, so I'm going to get, actually I've got a little bit of dirt right here that I missed, and it's just where the solvent basically dried and it left a little smudge of dirt. So I'm going to get that off of that part, and I am going to a little bit of grease right here. I put a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of rub my finger on and spread it out. That's all I want. I don't want a whole lot right there. This is how I clean guns. I know a lot of you may do it differently, and that's fine. As long as we're getting everything greased and lubed and we're not over greasing and over lubing, do watch out for that grease and oil. Man, you just really don't want that stuff running out all over your hands and all over that. There's ways to get around that. You don't have to do that. That's too much oil and grease. That's just too much. Alright, so I do get down in here. Alright, I got that. Alright, so my front is a little dirty. I'm going to wipe this off. Again, these coatings on these guns are not the best. I will admit that. But they shoot good. Alright, we'll get this rail again right here. Alright, this part. I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to do this. Oh, that was a little too much. I don't know if y'all saw that go on there, but that was too much. Alright. And if you get too much, just take it and spread it. Alright? You just spread it around. No big deal. Okay, so we're going to put it back. So we're going to take the barrel, send it back down in the barrel hole. Click. We're going to take the spring. Do know the spring. The large end goes forward, goes down in. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to seat this spring. You see that second step down in there? See if I can do it at this angle. Now we're going to push. Nope. I'm not going to be able to do it. There we go. Alright, so I got it down on that second step right there. That's where we want it. We want it right down in on that second step. Alright, so now we're going to take the, alright, right here, your little groove, and your little groove. We're going to take those little grooves, and then our little, right there, right here. We're going to basically match those. So see how that's going through right there? Wiggle it a little bit. Now we're going to pull it. Oop. There we go. Now when you're pulling it back, if these pins, if this bar basically is popped back up, just pull it down and it will go on. Alright. That's one of the things I like about the Taurus. The Taurus is a single action, double action, so when you cock it and you chamber around basically, it's loaded, it's ready to go. It is in single action, but if that thing fails to fire out of single action, you're here, and it fails to fire, you pull the trigger again, you get a double strike. You get 2 hits on that primer, and the reason for it to fail on the first strike, 90-some odd % of the time, is because the primer wasn't seated properly. So 90-some odd % of the time, that primer will seat the first strike, and then it will fire. It will actually go off that second strike. I'm just wiping my slide down, and I have another one, my original. I'm going to get it on here and clean it one day. My original Taurus G3, PT111 G2, has a little over 6,000 rounds, and it has failed to fire first strike Nothing to do with the gun itself, but failed to fire first strike around 400 times, a little more I believe, and it has never failed on second strike. So that's something you can consider if you haven't bought a gun yet, or if you're looking at this one to clean this one. This is a pro of this gun. If you're in somebody's coming at you, attacking you, you click nothing, just pull that trigger again, and that may save your life. Alright, so I'm going to wax it. This is my Renaissance. We're going to wax the slide, so I'm going to go here. Get a good one on it. Again, this is just like car wax. This is all this is like. All I'm doing is putting a finish or a protective coating on my gun. This is all I'm doing. And you can put Renaissance wax on anything. And I mean literally anything. This stuff has been used in museums for a long time now. I'm not sure when they come out with Renaissance wax, but I believe a museum curator actually come up with it or designed it. Sat down with some people and designed it. They said, hey, we need something to protect our stuff in the museum. This works on paper, it works on plastics, it works on metals, all kind of stuff. So this is stuff you can use on almost anything. Alright, so that we're going to let that dry. I believe I got it everywhere I wanted it down in here. I don't see any oils leaking out. If you see any oils and stuff leaking out, now's a good time to go ahead and clean it. I'm going to go ahead, I know the solvent stuff went down all of this, but I'm going to wipe it off anyway. Guys, if you're new to concealed carrying, you're going to build up so much lint right in here. It is unreal. I mean, I'm talking after like a week of carrying, depending on where you're carrying at, maybe even a couple of days. Girls, if you were carrying, even if you're just carrying it in your pocketbook, there's a lot of lint that gets down in there. So alright, so we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to come back and we're going to wipe this off, and this gun will be completed. So I'll be back in just a second. Alright, we're back with the G3. We're going to go ahead and pull the wax off. Now I put some compressed air to it for a few seconds to go ahead and try to get it to dry a little bit quicker. And I also compress air all my guns off once I'm done. And I will tell you that the shinier, the nicer your gun looks, the better the finish your gun has on it, the better this wax is going to make it look. It will make this one look, you know, like a stock finish. But those of you that got your chrome firearms, man, this stuff will make it pop, and it will protect that finish from getting dull. Because I know those of you that have those chrome ones, you really have to work at it to keep them shiny. I don't have any chrome firearms, and that's one reason why. Because I'd be cleaning that thing all the time, and I don't have that kind of time. But I do like cleaning firearms. So if you're local to the Anderson area, let me know. We'll get your gun in here and we'll get it cleaned. Anderson, South Carolina is where we're located. That's all we can do. We can't do any gunsmithing outside of our own firearms. So we're not licensed, but we can clean. And the ATF allows us to clean guns, but we can't actually work on them. I can tell you how to do some stuff, and I may put some videos on here on how to do some stuff at some point in time when I have something to do. But we can clean them, and we will clean them. We'll get them super clean, especially that gun. Those of you guys that don't know much about guns, you just want to keep a gun for self-defense, hit us up. Or you've got that new gun and you want a good cleaning, first cleaning. We can get all that packing grease out, because sometimes that's harder to get out. Alright, so this thing is waxed, it's cleaned, it's lubed. You're going to want to watch out. I got a little bit of oil coming out right there, so I'm going to wipe it off here. I'll wipe it off after the video. But it is ready to load up and go do some shooting.